Look at the damage. Do you think that's a good damage? That's a regular minigun fighting Guardian. Is that a good damage? Hey fellow Vault Dwellers, it's Angry Turtle, and today I have for you a heavy gunner build for the Ghoul. And yes, I continue using the minigun. I have two now, and I was comparing two different setups for the minigun versus the Guardian. I like it even more than I did when I did the video, as I'm now running it more, and yeah, it's growing on me. I still have my Gauss minigun as DPS is higher, but I'm running a lot of the regular minigun. Now, the build. Heavy Ghoul. This is special distribution before the legendary perks, and yes, there are all the legendary perks. You may notice I'm running follow through and taking one for the team. Those two together are only really needed when you are farming the Guardian. If you are not farming the Guardian, follow through is not needed on this build, so you can swap it for whatever you like. And as usually, I have 20 total to my special. You can choose different ones, just your total special need to be the same as mine if you want to copy every single perk card. But not super important at this moment what kind of legendary special we're adding, especially that charisma one was fixed. So all of them work now. As long as your total special will end up as I do have in here, you're good. And now the perks. What and why? And yeah, this build hits hard. Arms Keeper, I do have a lot of different weapons. If you don't need it. Lock and Load, Bullet Storm, Bring the Big Guns. It's all connected with Bullet Storm system, so you need all three of those cards to increase your damage greatly. Then Tightly Wound. This one, all the bugs related to it have been fixed, so all the spin-up weapons feels great now. It takes about a second now to spin up the gun instead of 2 seconds without this perk card. Easy target. A lot of extra damage as soon as you cripple anything on the target. Kicks in very fast, and the damage bonus is self-explanatory. 75%, that's solid. Perception, even more damage thanks to Tormentor, Tank Killer, Senta Masochist, Concentrated Fire, yes we are using VATS. You don't need to if you don't want to use VATS. One of my miniguns is non-VATS. But I like to have an option. When I feel especially lazy to aim at anything, one button and you kill everything, it feels good. I would not choose to skip it. The damage itself, if you use VATS or not, for example on the Guardian, is very similar. It's not as big of a gap as it was in the past. It is a little bit more damage with VATS, don't make me wrong, there is, but the damage difference is just not huge. Awareness to hit perfectly accurate in VATS, but it's not essential. It will help with initial VATS hits when you have awareness. Without it, you will rely more on Four Leaf Clover, but either way, it will work for you. At this moment, I do not have Four Leaf Clover, so if you opt out of awareness, you definitely will need a Four Leaf Clover. Only 9 endurance as there was no more points to spare. So Life Giver, Ironclad, Bullet Shield, rank 3, because in 3 weeks from the December patch that will be the max rank. So I just want to future-proof myself, already running rank 3. And Fireproof. Under Charisma, Strength in Numbers, and Tenderizer. Under Intelligence, we do have First Aid for Stimpaks, Power User. If you do want to use VATS, that's a must. Without it, fusion cores melt incredibly fast. Science, that is for the Gauss minigun users and energy guns like Gatling Plasma. Not really needed for minigun, but I don't want to switch perks too often. Curator, for my bubbleheads and magazines that I occasionally use. And Science Monster. This one is not particularly powerful, so if you need anything else, like batteries included, or if you prefer Demolition Expert, feel free to swap this one. It looks good, this 15%. In practice, it's giving you a tiny bit of extra damage. Not as powerful as we would hope it to be. It's a little bit of extra damage. Under agility, gunslinger for weak spot damage, and entire onslaught system plus adrenaline. There was no room really to squeeze in Born Survival, so in case of the raid, I just swap adrenaline for Born Survival. Inside the raid, there's really like almost outside of stage 2, there's no enemies to stack adrenaline anyway. So you can swap that for Born Survival for the raid purposes. Under luck, better criticals for damage, one gun army for crippling and activating easy target much faster, ricochet for tankiness, crit savvy for more criticals, faulty spots, yes, that's Ghoul superpower. For example, faulty spots is a lot of help with damage, Science Monster it's a little bit, because they different, the calculation is different. Faulty spots is multiplier to the weak spot damage, that's what makes it so much more powerful than 15% on Science Monster. And Wild West Hands, that's a powerhouse for every ghoul, so you keep Bulletstorm stacks full, quite often with multiple clips. So that's great. Next, our mutations. I'm currently a herbivore. I'm still unsure if I should stay as a herbivore or switch. I will see. Adrenaline reaction for killstreak damage, bird bones for less fall speed, that's the main reason to use it. Eagle eyes for damage with criticals, egghead for damage with energy guns thanks to the science perk, herbivore for critical damage, that's the reason I can have 125% critical damage bonus from food relatively easily, that's why herbivore, but there's so much more quality of life buffs like carry weight under carnivore category, so I'm still thinking if I should stay like that. For me, herbivore, carnivore, it's completely up to you. Your choice, personal choice. Herd mentality, free special, marsupial for jumping, scully skin for tankiness. It does hit action points, so you may consider not running scully skin. I'm not removing it, I'm keeping it for now. It's really good outside of power armor, not as needed in power armor. And lastly, speed demon to move faster. If you are rich, in caps like me, you can just pop scully skin serums to keep the positive without the negative. That's always an option. The same about the carry weight when you are a herbivore. I can pop herbivore serum and still use smoke mylock fillet. You can see here I do have herbivore serums. I pop one. Then I have here smoke mylock fillet. As you can see, it's giving me 75 carry weight, thanks to the fact that I'm using herbivore serum, unlocking my ability to use meat-based buffs. And this one still works very well. The other ones do not, like that's 1 luck instead of 3. But this one still works well. Now about the gear. So the absolute powerhouse remained to be Gauss minigun. This is always the strongest. The Gauss minigun is the #1. I have multiple. So this one is for high range, you can see by 3 barrel. The most powerful for DPS is penta barrel. And there is a minigun. One of them with weak spot damage, so that's my powerhouse outside of VATS. Still can be used in VATS, only 8 AP cost. But I will show you this one on the Guardian. And why on the Guardian? Guardian is a perfect test dummy for all weapons. And you can see here damage shows very low, but that is quickly changing during the combat when Bulletstorm stacks are jumping in. And this is my second one. You already were able to see it in the video, and I was still human when I was destroying enemies in VATS, basically unlimited VATS with this one. And yes, I know the AP cost can be reduced even further to 4 with the Shredder mod, but it will change the weapon into short range. Like, we'll lose half of the range almost, so that's why I don't want to do that. And this is the Gauss Mini with maximum damage. That's the highest damage weapon currently for the heavy gunners that exist in the game with those exact legendary effects. Incredible powerhouse. About my armor, I have multiple sets of power armor, currently running Vulcan, as Vulcan is reducing fusion core drain when running VATS, so that's really good, and Vulcan you obtain from the raid, so this one is helpful with VATS, reducing the fusion core drain. So I do like to run it a lot. It's full set of Aegis, so that makes me incredibly tanky combined with endurance. And troubleshooters because of the Guardian. If not the Guardian, something else would be good. And from December patch, there should be more options for prefixes for Ghouls. So we can look into them when the patch drops. Jetpack. Flying is handy. And for VATS, Matrix Overlay for VATS accuracy on the helmet. Now, the performance. On the Guardian, although it's not like a Guardian farming build, it's for everything, entire raid and everyday gameplay, but can handle Guardian, no problem. Before we fight the Guardian, you may notice I have Radex Diluted locked here. It's very handy on the Ghoul. I can top up my Feral without risking any addictions by popping a bunch of Radex, follow up by Radex Diluted to enable mutations, as Radex do disable mutations, but Radex Diluted do re-enable them, and I have Psycho Buff that I do run when I want some kind of a boost. And here, lots of Toxic Goo. I can use it with a quick button because that's a PC. I know you cannot use it with a quick button on the console. Hopefully one day Bethesda will give you a hot button for food. When will that happen? I don't know, but I do hope it will happen. So we're switching to first person, double checking if I do have a proper Gauss Mini selected. I want the pinpointers one. Yes, that's the pinpointers one. So let's see how much damage we can do to the Guardian. And yes, I already start firing. The reason for that, I want the Bullet Storm to boost my damage. And I will not be able to get a full Bullet Storm when the Guardian will start fighting me. So I'm starting early. I'm getting this Bullet Storm. I'm wasting some 5mm ammo, but you know how common this ammo is. So that's absolutely no problem with the wastage of the ammo. We'll just continuously fire. And I will be popping Toxic Goo with a quick button. It is possible to pop Toxic Goo with quick button while firing, which is especially handy here, as that's not possible with a Stimpack. But I can do that with Toxic Goo. So I can stay firing and eating Toxic Goo. And now, look at the damage. Do you think that's a good damage? That's a regular minigun fighting Guardian. Is that a good damage? What do you have to say? I would say this is a brilliant damage. Even now when I was detected and in danger. It's still smooth kill with good old minigun. No need to use Gauss. Gauss would do it faster. Yes, that just to answer your question. Yes, Gauss minigun would be faster with the exact same scenario. But this one is not far behind. It's doing really well, I would say. And if your damage numbers will end up being lower, me firing at the Guardian continuously during the shield phase is helping to kill it later, as Tenderizer is stacking up to 1000 hits, at which point it gives 100% bonus damage to this particular target. There is no duration, nothing like that. That's continuous debuff for the enemy. So shooting at the Guardian, even doing a 0 damage before its shield goes down, does help, as that gives me stacks of Tenderizers. I was probably able to shoot it with like 500 bullets most likely, so that's 50% bonus damage before I even started doing any damage, before the shield went down. So that's important to mention here, as that may not be so obvious. The Tenderizer card do not contain any explanation, but yes, it's 0.1% per bullet. Multi-projectile weapons still count as one hit, so doesn't matter if it's 2 shots, 6 shots, 8 shots per pull of a trigger, doesn't matter, it will count as one. So regardless of how many projectiles hit simultaneously, it only counts as one, but minigun is firing one just very fast, so I'm getting those stacks very efficiently. And that being said, what do you think about this build? Let me know. Thank you a lot for watching, and see you in the next one.